Hello, everyone. This is your girl, Crystal Rain, with her official Brown Sugar Amplified Sound Off. Sorry about yesterday, but this week has been crazy and hectic. And like I said, I had to get some stuff done. I got it done, and we are here today. So let's get it going. Let's get it talking. So I had mentioned several things. And one of those things that I mentioned this week, and hopefully we have some people tuning in today. Check here. Yes. So one of the things that I mentioned this week was I want to celebrate something, but my mind has just been far, far, far away. And I realized I was feeling grief, that I was grieving, and just like many, many people across this country, grieving and expressing themselves and voicing their concern and their anger for what recently happened in Minneapolis and what continues to happen, and what has been happening in this country for just far, far too long. The murder and the fact that these cops thought they were going to be justified by trying to pin something on someone that may or may not be true, because so far friends of his haven't verified, what the cops were saying on the films about him being, a drug addict. But either way, it doesn't matter. We all deserve dignity. We all deserve our day in court. And I realized what I was feeling and why I could not, I could celebrate and be happy and just have that quiet moment to myself, but not voice it to the world, is because it was like, how can I voice something to the world that I'm excited and happy about when there was a recent tragedy and another tragedy, when a white woman tried to end, as far as I'm concerned, Christian Cooper's life by filing a false report. And false reports have just been filed just, again, too long. And I realized I was feeling guilt. And it's almost like survivor's guilt. That's the only thing I can relate it to. It's the people who've been that lone survivor from a plane crash or a train crash, and they're just like, why am I still here? And some I'll say may or may not understand that. And then we're gonna move to our next point, because this is an official sound off, but it's a sound off bite. And I put myself together a little bit better for you all today. When I came on unofficially in my Facebook Live, I know y'all was like, hey, some of us with this natural hair, these lovely locks, this lovely natural hair going on, like, hey, when y'all opening back up? Woo! But anyway, and also I realized something else. This could have been me. Now I'm a Black woman with biracial children, and my biracial children are not my skin tone. Matter of fact, when I say this could have been me, I mean literally this could have been me. I remember being at a store on Stevenson Highway. That's all I'll say, because I love going to this store. I just prefer to go to the one that I go to all the time. But anyway, I liked the one on Stevenson Highway because it was so big and there's a lot of selection, and I could get, just see what else it had. So I go there on occasion. And I had went there on quite a few occasions. I had opened my account at that store because that's where the bank was located. And I noticed this white woman, she seemed to be going in the same aisles as me. And I was like, kind of like, didn't think anything of it. And I was looking for something and I didn't see it. I noticed her watching me. And again, I have my two kids with me. And I asked the gentleman about this type of bread, and he was like, oh, no, we don't have it in the back. And I said, okay, cool. So I went to another aisle. And I know she was kind of there. And then she was kind of like in my way. And I kind of went around her, like, excuse me. And was like looking at her like, what? And she goes, oh, yeah, sure, of course. She kind of had this like little attitude. And then I noticed when I was further into the store that two store employees were following me, one Black male and one white female. And the Black male looked at her and he was like, I'm not saying anything to that woman. Those are her children. And she had whispered something else to him. And he was like, you can do what you want. And he just walked away, which was a smart move to make, because I was looking at them like, again, what are you looking at? So they could have easily filed a false report that, hey, a Black woman has stolen, two white kids. And that's something that I live with on a daily. I'll never forget the first time I traveled somewhere with Addie, my oldest, and that's when I only had her. And she was like basically the spitting image. It's like, I'm the spitting image of my dad because I'm not my mom's complexion. I'm the spitting image of my dad. Like, she's literally the spitting image of her dad, especially when she was born. Red straight hair, just light pale. And I was like, so I don't have any problems. And that's sad because I'm sure many people who travel with their kids don't go, let me take their birth certificate so they think that this is my baby. But that is some of our reality. And it's happened to a white woman where the woman was like, no, that's not your kid. No, her kids just happen to look more Black. And she was like, I think she had to have her husband bring the birth certificate. I don't know. I remember the full story, but she had to have an explanation. She was held at the airport because they thought she had stolen these kids. These kids are not the same complexion as you. They're not yours. And I live with it even more because, again, more false reports are made on Black people. So I could have easily been George Floyd that day because I'm definitely going to fight for my kids if you try to take them away from me. That's not happening. So, when we see stories like this, and I don't think people fully understand, some people may not fully understand, because I saw friends of mine, a couple people, calling out friends saying, hey, how come you're not speaking up? How come you're not saying anything? I don't think they understand fully. To them, this was just another accidental killing. This was just another something that happened. And it's like, no, this can't happen anymore. That's what this is. Now let's talk about systems. Because I had mentioned that I have a favorite movie, and it was just time for that movie this week. It was time for The Matrix. And if you can't figure out why that's one of my favorite movies, maybe I have to blatantly say it, but it's about what? A system that we come to find out within a system, possibly within even another system, and it's about bringing that system down. So let's talk about some systems. Let's call those out. People like to call people out, but let's call systems out. So if you work in law enforcement and you can't find it in your heart to serve and protect all people, it's time. This is an official sound off. It's time for you to find another job. If you're an emergency worker and you don't think you're going to give the same care to a person of color because you may not want to touch them, it's time for you to find another job. Health industry, because we know what can happen in the health industry. You are not a priority. There are other priorities here. You are not a priority. So we're going to go tend to them. But guess what? You took an oath. You're there to serve. If you're in the service industry, you need to find another job. The criminal industry, law, not just law enforcement, but judges. If you don't think you can give the same sentence that's supposed to happen to a person that looks like me, to a white person or whatever, or the type of sentence you would give to a white person to a Black person, it's time for you to find another job. It's time to just call out all the systems. And let's not forget this last system. So I also have a story from this system. The next system is schools. We tend to forget that schools were built to divide. Division. They used to be segregated. Let's not forget that. So if you're a teacher, an official, and anything that works to the school systems, that works for the school systems, and you don't think that you can look at one child the same as you look at another child, it's time for you to find another job. And some of you may think that's a stretch, but there's a reason why I say close to my child. And I'm not gonna say the school system I'm an alumni from, but most know. But I know from experience, I have been bullied by teachers. I had one teacher, this is when I started to play the violin in elementary, when you start to play the instruments, and she did not treat me like the other children. She later apologized in high school. You know what her apology meant to me? That's what her apology meant to me. So if you don't think that sometimes your kid may bring home a story that don't sound right to you and you think they're lying, you need to check that. Because my mama knew what it was. And she just said, we ain't gonna worry about it. Because later she apologized to me in high school because she knew how she looked at me. She looked at me differently. I had others. Don't let your child read so much at home. One teacher told my mom, she's too far ahead. And I went home fearful that my mother was gonna listen to that white lady and she was gonna take away my books. That was like literally what I had growing up was my books. And she didn't bother me. I went to my room, I read, I was like, oh my God, thank God. So there's a reason why I stay close to mine. Because I know if I hear something and I recognize too many things. Because why? Because I've gone through it. And guess what? No more. We need to start being truthful about being honest. If you're going to create some real change, it's time to change. You know who your racist teachers are. You know who your racist principals are. You know who the racist ones are. Get them out. You can try to re-educate them, but that might be very, very hard to re-educate that. Let me tell you. So, oh, and this is another thing, our businesses. I just saw someone post something about the Detroit Popcorn Company. And I was going to actually, for the event I was going to do for our coding club, I was going to venture them. But guess what? Those who want to come out and say things like the Detroit Popcorn Company has said, and we'll look further into this. I saw this repost, but Quicken Loans has pulled all their business from Detroit Popcorn Company because they came out officially saying someone needs to step on their necks. I guess they meant the protesters or the Black protesters or whoever the people are. Their necks should be stepped on. What? That's like a threat. Do you not just know what just happened? No, you do know what just happened. That's why you said it, and you think you can be justified and continue to say things like this. But guess what? Detroit Popcorn Company, you're most likely about to close because your business is right in a Black neighborhood. Ain't that some ish? You're in a Black neighborhood. That neighborhood that you sit on Telegraph is primarily Black. And that's funny. You think you would have had signs up that said like Black Lives Matter or something. So people are like, oh, let me keep going to Detroit Popcorn Company. But nah, we're done. We are done. Quicken Loans to just hold all their business. No one's gonna want to be associated with that. Not at all. So what I'm saying is no more apologies. Peace, love, many blessings. See you on Thursday. This has been Crystal Rain with your official Brown Sugar Amplified Sound Off.